What's up, my ninjas? I'm Strident, and I'm back with another action figure review. This time we're looking at the DC Collectibles Designer Series Greg Capullo Red Hood. Um, this was kind of random for me, but from the moment I saw it for the first time, I had one idea for it, and it's a very simple custom. And I'm going to show you that after I finish talking a little bit about the figure as it comes packaged. I have him wearing the kind of the goon head, because I don't really like the leader, long, weird pill head thing. I think it's just, I don't know. I mean, it fits with the Joker's goofy personality or, you know, all of that, but I just wasn't a fan. And like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the new 52, but I'm a fan of Greg Capullo's artwork. I have been since X-Force back in the 90s, and that's what made me even get into these. So let me tell you more. The paint work and sculpt work on these figures is pretty awesome, and they're sturdy. And they have a mix of articulation, which is pretty cool. Depending on the design, they have articulation that works kind of with the particular sculpt. So this is more akin to what we get with Japanese figures than what we usually get with American figures. And you know me, I've made that switch, and for the most part. So seeing this is kind of nice because I like it when the engineering is taken into account. I can't stand it when I get a figure that has an awesome sculpt and shitty engineering, so you can't pose him because he looks dumb. This actually looks good. Like, I don't mind that there aren't ball-socketed shoulders, because look at how the sculpt stays together. But this head is my favorite. This head here with the long pill thing, this is what he comes packaged with, and I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, like, I know it's comic book accurate and everything. It's well painted. There's no slop. It's just not my thing. If I were to keep him displayed, it definitely wouldn't be with this head. It would be with the other one. Now, if you guys know me at all, you know I'm not a huge fan of the new 52. But like I said earlier, I am a huge fan of Greg Capullo's artwork. I have been for many years, and that's what drew me here to these figures. So, accessory count. I'm just throwing out all the disclaimers and whatnot. You got a pickaxe, an Uzi. It looks like a SIG, some kind of future tech, or special high-tech gun. And you've got the two heads, interchangeable heads, I guess. One is the gang head, the smaller one of the two, and then the longer pill-shaped one is the actual Red Hood himself. Like I said, I'm more of a fan of the other, the gang head, because it just looks more like something that you could wear and actually run around and do what you got to do with. The other one looks like his mask like the original mask got stuck halfway on, or, like 75% of the way on his head. So it just looks dumb. I don't know how else to describe it. But there's no slop on any of this stuff. No slop whatsoever. But like I told you guys in the very beginning, there was one reason why I even picked this figure up in the first place, and I'm going to show you what that is. So they released a figure called the Thrasher Suit Batman, which is also from the new 52 and from Greg Capullo's run. I dug the whole figure. I picked it up too, and that'll be one of the next reviews. It looks like Greg Capullo's art. I love this face, but I don't want it on this figure. But when I tell you that the face does resemble his artwork, I mean, take a look. This is his artwork. The difference is, I would say that the figure's eyes are a lot bigger than what the drawing, the eyes that he's drawn actually look like. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's exaggerated, so you get it. But that's probably my only nitpick. My only, the only bad thing I'd say about the sculpt. But anyway, I wanted to use that head for other things. Mainly this. Finally having a, unmasked Batman, like with, Bruce Wayne brooding around in his cave. I love how it looks. I love the fact that, they used that colored plastic, the flesh-colored plastic, or the, Caucasian skin tone plastic, and then painted on top of it. And then it gives you that kind of luminosity or luminescence with his skin, and I love that, or radiance, I think they call it in some programs. Um, and it works because it's a cool dichotomy with his skin versus the suit, because the suit is supposed to be a form of armor, you know? So you've got this hard armor and you've got this soft skin tone. It just looks really cool, and the eyes pop. So he does look young, but you know, I'm assuming, and I could be wrong, from everything I read in the new 52 version of Batman, he seems younger. Um, I think the death happened when he was a little older. I think he was like 10 as opposed to 8. I could be wrong. Like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of I'm not a huge fan of the new 52. But anyway, that was one thing, and this is the main reason. I saw this body and I was like, I need a Bruce Wayne figure, and I think that's what I'm going to do. So you just combine the heads from the Thrasher suit and this body, and you have a Bruce Wayne. Now, there are little bits of things that you have to be aware of when doing this. These heads are, when you heat them, they actually get really rubbery, which is nice. You have to heat them for a decent amount of time, or put them in hot water and it'll be really quick. I just put them on I have a space heater in here, and I put them over the space heater, and it just did the job really quick. The peg for the neck is a clear peg, so you got to be careful. But the pegs for everything else are not. One thing I noticed with these figures and the, well, not these, but this batch and the animated series figures, is they're not using those clear pegs. And I was so happy about that, because I'm like, okay, good, then I can collect some of this shit now. But anyway, so now I have a very, you know, smoothly dressed, you know, Bruce Wayne that's pretty damn posable, and it's not wearing clothes that any of my other figures have. Because in the past, I had made him from the old Dark Knight trilogy figures, you know, pop the Christian Bale head on the extra Harvey Dent body that I had, and I didn't really dig that so much because he was small. This is perfect because he's tall, he looks svelte, you know, and the suit looks tailored to fit his, you know, his body type, which is awesome. And it works for me, you know, it just looks right. I don't know how else to describe it. It just looks right, and I have no issues with the way it looks. It just feels like this is what he should look like, and I'm glad that I picked him up, you know. It's really simple, such a simple custom. I'm surprised they didn't just release this figure as part of the wave, but here we go. So like I said before, no ball jointed shoulders, but he retains all the articulation because I didn't do anything to the body, you know, which is awesome. There's no ball jointed anything except for the head. So it's kind of easy to move him around and pose him, and you can still do dynamic poses. His arms they have pretty decent range. It's just not as crazy as you know, what you could do with the ball jointed ones. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty dope. I like it. It's he's got the swivel shoulders. I'm sorry. He's got a single bend at the elbow, which is fine with me. He also has a bicep swivel, which is perfectly fine with me once again. Which is, I mean, it's like this articulation actually works with the sculpt. It makes sense with the sculpt, and it gets around not having certain parts to allow you to do other things. He has swivels at his wrists also, and that works perfectly. His arms move all the way up. I mean, nothing's really hindering anything on the figure. It's just he's free. He can move freely. They move down that far, just pretty much how we started. And I'm going to keep talking about how the sculpt works, or the articulation works with the sculpt so well. I mean, that suit never looks out of place. You know, parts of his body just don't look out of place. His head can look up that much. It's pretty decent. So if you do have to have him looking up at a taller, you know, like a DCUC Collect and Connect, or a oversized, you know, DC collectibles figure, you can do it. It's a, wow, why did I put that twice? I don't know. But anyway, it just, like I said, he has very good articulation. I can't stress it enough. You can look to the left with no problem. You can look to the right with no problem. You have nothing obstructing his neck at all. And yes, I did kind of jump ahead of myself, but I want to talk about and kind of, what's the word, gush about the stuff they've done right. Because you remember, I said I was swearing off DC Collectibles for a while because of the shit I went through with my Crime Syndicate figures, which now I have to go back and try to find them. I think my comic book store had the majority of them. Leg articulation. Now, this is the part that it's kind of a bummer, but I mean, he wouldn't be trying to give away that he's Batman by kicking the shit out of people. He would keep it simple. So, yeah, he can't really lift his legs up very high. There's no ball joints in his hips, so everything is swivels. It's real simple. Um, his knee bends. It's a single knee at the, or a single knee at the knee. Single joint at the knee. His toes can point a little bit. I thought at first they were ball socketed, but they are not. It's just like the first Capullo style Batman, except this works better because it's deeper in his ankle. The ankle is kind of up in a recess, you know what I mean? So it doesn't just flop around the way that those do. And this is how far back his legs can move. What's cool about this is that the old DC Directs were like this, where, you know, they could move forward and backward kind of far. So for kicks and stuff, you know, it looks like he has ball joints, right? But they're swivels, and I just have them swiveled in opposite direction. And then you pose the rest of him as, you know, you see fit to make the kick look, to sell the kick, and it looks good. You can go a little bit higher, but, you know, with the kind of problems I had, I was like, I'm not pushing it. His waist, he has a waist joint. And I'm pretty sure all the other guys do too. It's just a matter of, is yours frozen or not? So be careful with yours and checking the joints and checking the waist and all that stuff. But I had no paint chipping and breaking off. I had nothing was stuck, is what I'm trying to get at. And I opened him in the car, you know, when I got the figure. So, you know, it's in good shape. There's nothing, I didn't have any issues. So I guess I was lucky this time. About time. It's pretty simple, really. If you want a Bruce Wayne, get the Thrasher suit, take the head off, and put it on buy the Red Hood, and put his head on that body, and there you go. Yes, he'll have gloves on, but I mean, does he look like the type of guy that would not wear gloves going out to some fancy something or other? It's not above or you know, outside of the realm of possibility for Bruce Wayne to be wearing fancy white gloves, you know. And you know, if you don't like this idea, it's still a decent figure. I mean, the posability is nice. It's real simple. It's real straightforward. You don't really have to ask for too much, you know? And considering all the issues that we've been having with DC Collectibles in the years, the last, you know, couple years, it's nice that this is all good, you know? So, you know, if you see this figure, it's definitely worth picking up. The accessory count is good because whatever he can't use, you could always just use it with someone else. Um, I like it. I like it. I recommend it to anyone. The paint is really well done. Like I said before, the articulation works really well with the sculpt. They engineered something for a fucking change, you know? And I wonder if that's more to do with Capullo himself being involved, or is that something that DC Collectibles was like, yeah, we're not going to do him dirty. But anyway, this has been my review of the DC Collectibles designer series Red Hood figure that I turned into my Bruce Wayne custom. Uh, Pretty much this is my story and I'm sticking to it. You know, the reasons I stated above are why you should pick it up. And hopefully you dug the video. I will see you on the next one. Peace outside.